why I feel in the face of all the problems in the world impotent, and why I somehow cannot manage to transform I. Now here we get to the real problem, because we're always telling each other that we should be different. Now I'm not going to tell you that tonight. Why not? Because I know you can't. Nor can I. That may sound depressing, but I'll tell you it isn't. It's very hard. But everybody, you see, who is at all sensitive and awake to their own problems and human problems is trying to change himself. We know we can't change the world unless we change ourselves. So when we are aware of the ego I, we are aware of this chronic tension inside ourselves. And that's not us. It's a futile tension. So when we get the illusion, the image of ourselves, married to a futile tension, you've got an illusion married to a futility. And then you wonder why I can't do anything.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's live stream. Let's go over what I think of Bitcoin at this moment. So we're going to do a top-down analysis, start on the daily and work our way down to the micro time frames. First of all, let's actually load up the BLX chart. So we can do a quick comparison of the previous crash pattern. Beautiful. And pop over to logarithmic. Lovely. So, we are in the reaccumulation phase for Bitcoin. Specifically, we are seeing this exact same price action in both instances, right? Where we have the compressionary period after the markdown into the accumulation, markdown into accumulation. And then we have the breakout setting the higher high, a compressionary period to restore the short-term market to a state of potential energy, and well, I assume we're going to see the same thing here, right? Mostly because the 3D wave PM readings are very similar for both of these scenarios, and I'll show you what I mean, although we'll take a touch more zooming, or I could just split the chart template. Let's do that. Beautiful. So we're going to drag ourselves back to look at the previous reaccumulation period, just so we can get a good understanding of how similar it is. Okay. Okay. I'll do the same over here. All right, I'm going to point out the similarities in these two scenarios. What I find a little odd is that the reaccumulation period in each of these examples, well, the market bottom of the prior example was far faster than what currently happened in this crash pattern, which I find a little bizarre. I expected the initial rejection from the weekly 50 moving average, and instead, right, it would have been around here where we got the rejection. And instead of the secondary retest of the weekly 200 before the markup, we actually just broke straight through the resistance and got the markup anyway. So it is shockingly similar how they were, where we had the initiatory test of the weekly 200 moving average, the relief rally in both scenarios, right? Our secondary test of the weekly 200 moving average, and then we had the run up to the weekly 50 moving average, right? And, oops, I do that in the wrong location. The run up to the weekly 50 moving average, right? And expecting the rejection there was really probable. And my two conditions for how to identify the bull run was either the retest of the weekly 200 or a sustained move above the weekly 50. And, well, we saw the sustained move above the weekly 50. So, you can safely buy into the bull run, really. I expect around a 3,000% gain over the next few years. So any money you invest into Bitcoin should treat you very well. So I am going by Bear Shark right now, just because I'm short-term bearish for the initial drawdown, like so, right? And it's all going to be about defining the retracement value for the initial bounce, because catching that bounce is your best bet for a long-term position in Bitcoin, right? If you can buy the swing low out of whatever's happening here, you're going to be very well off for the upcoming year. And one thing I think is interesting is when we had the initial downward expansion to retest the weekly 200, which was signified by this net expansion here, and as you can see, this net expansion here. The wave PM readings are wonderfully similar. You can really tell just how cyclical the market is, specifically by looking at the blue line, which is the 100 period, right? Where the downward expansion occurs here, right, on the downward trend in both scenarios, which results in the test of the weekly 200, right? And then it's followed by the compressionary period, where it tapers off in both scenarios, right? And that results in a period of lateral trading in both scenarios. And then when we finally got the re-expansion in these examples here, right, we get the parabola. So just as we had the previous compressionary period here and here from the downward move, it's also logical we need a compressionary period from the expansion of the upward move, right, which results in the flag, the reaccumulation, right? It's why Bitcoin can't just move straight up. It needs to restore itself to a state of potential energy before it could continue any kind of trend. So what's also interesting to see is the expansion. Oh God, this is so beautiful. All right, do you see this here, this expansion at this location? Right, from this retest of the weekly 50? Well, we actually had a similar expansion here. It's just that the secondary expansion at this location occurred much faster than the previous one over here. Right, since this expansion was indicative of this parabola, while this one over here was indicative of this parabola. So we can look at how price behaved on the 100 period in this instance, and from the looks of it, it actually saw re-expansion despite not being sufficiently compressed, which resulted in this cloud of volatility overhead that we see here, right? Because when you re-expand previously overexpanded periods, it implies significant force has been, well, applied to the market. So, using actual periods here to define compressionary values is going to be a little risky, simply because any kind of markdown here is going to be heavily bought, and we might see a retest of previous highs. I don't think we're going to be breaking any higher highs, but I do think that our compressionary range is not going to be very well respected. I do need to say that. Any shorts right now need to be incredibly well managed, simply because I don't think the typical implications of compressing volatility theory are going to contain price. So really right now, instead of shorting, you should be focusing on buying the dip. Okay? Since this buying pressure was just insane, really, if you want to use the daily quad CCI strategy to try to gain entries, that will be effective. Right? Just try to get the 14 period CCI roll up while everything else is weighted, and you should get some solid long entries into the market. So if we take a look at the previous crash pattern, let's point those out, just where quad CCI would have helped us here. Okay. We would have caught long entries. I'll just create vertical lines where they would have triggered here, 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 and here, and here. Yeah, so, well, there's one more here as well. So really, trend continuation should be your goal over bearish mean reversion at this point. So from the looks of it, that would have treated you well. That would have treated you well briefly. It did have a significant further drawdown, but the good thing about this reaccumulation period is we will be provided with subsequent entries, right? That would have treated you well. That's fine, and of course, well, this one, right? What you should really be looking for the, if you're looking for a higher leverage position, you're going to need to wait a couple months until volatility reduces, since I do expect a very significant volatile range that's going to heavily compress into the end of the flag. And yeah, it's going to look like a flag. I'll admit that. All right. Since attempting to enter any kind of long position immediately is going to be very difficult to actually catch the bottom without significant risk, meaning leverage positions are going to be much too overexposed. So if you really want to enter Bitcoin longs, you aren't going to get as good of a price on the swing low, right? But the reduced volatility will allow you to enter with a more reliable stop loss. So we are going to see, in theory, this compressing flag here. And I'm going to exaggerate it just a touch so I can make a point. I don't think it's going to go this low, but... Okay, so we're going to get this super big compressing flag. It's going to last quite some time. And while buying here is going to be the most profitable, it's also going to be associated with the highest risk. Whereas buying the second time, a little bit lower risk, but obviously there's a markup in price. But buying in the final iterations of the flag is going to be the safest possible entry. Okay? So if you look closely on quad CCI, this swing low here, when that rolls up, that's going to be our first long. Okay? Actually, if we look at the current chart, we should actually be getting pretty close to that signal. Yeah, it's triggering this very second. So, again, the first iteration is super high risk, and I don't think we've gone low enough, partially because of the active mean reversion condition on the 4-hour chart, which I'll point out now. Right, our longest overexpanded period in this scenario is currently 225. So if we load up that 225 band, it should be pretty indicative of how low we need to go, or at least the required mean reversion pivot, or better yet, the implied mean reversion pivot. So, right, when we entered this pivot here, it implied reversion down to this mean, right? So, sorry, the guitar solo on the song I'm listening to is about to come up. Just give me a second here. It's really good. Man, okay, I'm going to show you this. I can't. Okay, never mind. So, we're getting the active mean inversion condition here. The signal was here, and we have our target of this mean. Really, the only requirement is that we trade laterally as defined by this band. So, you know, because our current mean inversion pivots are actually very similar to the prior example. Oh, yeah, I wish I could look at that data on the 4-hour, but it's the BLX chart, so I might be able to. I'll look back. But the reversion of this target is implied simply because we have this data set that is formed, and it won't go lower than this, and it won't go higher than this. So with that in mind, well, in theory, we can trickle along the top edge, but if you have a data set, you expect it to probably hit the center of the data set before it is sufficiently compressed. And to be honest, compression has almost occurred. Right? Our longest overexpanded period is awfully close to being sufficiently compressed to allow trend continuation. But really, if we want to see the next bull run, we're going to need a lot more net compression just across all periods. So sideways moving for 2 months is what I'm going to bet on. Okay. That's it for Bitcoin. It's been a pleasure. I'll talk to y'all later. Very nice. Let's check out those YouTube comments, see what you guys want me to look at. I'm going to drink my kava. What is an exit signal for CCI? Roll up with longer period opposite side is long entry, but roll down when longer periods are on the top side isn't a sell signal, right? No, since it's a trend identification tool, the typical way I've shown, yeah, I haven't told you guys publicly how to take profit with it. There is, in Mark Whistler's books and in the CCI episode of my course, I do talk about how to take profit with CCI, and better yet, extreme values on the Bollinger Band. But I don't think I'm just going to share that for free, sorry. I'll tell you how to take entries with Quad CCI, because it's simple and effective, and red line crosses blue line indicator goodness that people eat up. But taking profit, I'm not going to tell you how to do. Because there are 4 different ways to take profit, either using Bollinger Band extreme values, multi-period CCI crosses, and mean inversion, active mean inversion conditions for trend identification. Why the hell am I listening to Owl City? What the hell? Stop. I didn't even notice. It's a really cute song. Ugh. Godsmack, much better. Okay. Quite the playlist I've made here. Owl City and Godsmack. Actually. Die Huener Hoch by Feuerschwanz. Excuse me. This is my vibe right now, though. Ice Pressure is cozy, man, I'll tell you. I really want to go see him live in Germany, but... Actually, I might just do that. Why not? They don't come to America, which is kind of disappointing. Rammstein does, and I hear he does his own pyrotechnics, which... He lights his keyboardist on fire, and I kind of want to see that. Anyway. FUSD. Man, FUSD is just an active bearish mean inversion. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. Right? You have short-term implied downward potential, and it might do that. Right? Just look for the relative CCI roll where it might be relevant. Did you see that? I don't know what that is, man, and it freaks me out. It's a little download single that appears on its own, and I don't know what it is. Well, I have a recording of it, so I guess I could post a video and ask what it is. Okay. Sky Vet Pie. Dude, why do you want to look at this, huh? Man. I mean, I guess you have nice compression. Sure. Okay, if you get any kind of... Let's set an alarm, why not? If you get any kind of net expansion, it will result in trend. But until that happens, leave it alone. Oh, I don't know how to define a retracement on this, man. Because you have converse expansion, you have downward expansion, and upward expansion, it makes things tricky. As for the 1 hour, maybe we'll have a bullish mean inversion condition on this move, but no. I'm not seeing anything here I like. Yeah, that's it. Sorry. I don't remember the other one. That... Is it really compressed or just dead? That's funny. Dude, if it expands upward, I'll buy it, but... Yeah, that's a big if, you know? Zen. I'm kind of sad because I've been bag holding EBSD. I got a dead coin. Right, I bought into it because of this bullshit right here. It's these repeated, obvious pump and dumps. And so I bought in over here. I'm like, oh, it'll happen again. And then it didn't, and it just died. So I bought around here, and now we're here. So I've drawn down like 95% more. Hold on. Yeah, 95%. Wow. I'm pretty disappointed. Dead coins, man. I got like a good $400 in this. I got another one. I just don't remember what it was called, but... By the way, you're really choppy. What do you mean? I didn't check what coin I needed to look at. Dash. Okay. This would have been nice to catch. Those are pretty good mean inversion conditions that activated, but it's super compressed right now. Any kind of breakout would really... Ooh. That looks pretty good, actually, I'll be honest. I'll set an alert. Wave PM, we want plot 1 crossing up. I'll just put crossing, that's fine. Band 1 oscillator crossing wave PM. Band 3 oscillator. That'll do. And just call it dash. I'm not going to say long because it could be expansion either direction. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, nice coin. I'll see what happens. Oh, I got a bag of ZRX, or at least I'm trying to get a order of ZRX filled. ZRX looks good. Oh, my order's not going to fill. God damn it. This is a breakout. I honestly believe this right here is a breakout. We have implied upward net expansion. I want it. I really want it. We'll see what happens. They're just so compressed, and we have implied net expansion on the 4-hour chart, so count me in. Like, I have not seen this chart this compressed before. Now, this is so much implied bullishness. I'm going to call this. I'm going to look at Zen and Vet, and then I'll be done. Oh, Adam. Hold on. I see what you're doing. Look at the 225, 240. Hold on. Yeah, 225. No, man. That's an active mean reversion condition. That's bearish. I guarantee you people are drawing this trend line right now. Somehow. Zen, I said. Okay. I don't have an opinion on this. You know, I'm not that into it. Hold on. I know there's a longer channel over here on the daily, but yeah, the channel broke ages ago. Although that was a good position to take. I was into it. You know, just because we're so close into like an accumulation period for coins, taking previous highs on this one is not, nothing short term I want to bet on quite yet, okay? I'll do Elf and then I'll be done. I'm not really inclined to catch a falling knife like this when there's no implied mass. Wave PM looks dirty. Yeah, not the 9 in this one either. Sorry, guys. All right, folks, that's it for today. Make sure you like this video and do subscribe to the channel if you're new. Have a beautiful day. I'll see you tomorrow at 1 p.m.